Greetings guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome back to The Amazing Plant Project. My name's Kate, and today we're talking about poppies. This particular poppy is known by the scientific name Eschscholzia californica. Now, it's called the California poppy, but it's also called the golden poppy, a cup of sunlight, and California gold, which is an apt name, all of them really, because it's set up in a cup-like format, it's gold, it's native to the region, ergo, naming systems. So this particular flower is the state flower for California, and it's been the state flower since 1903, and interestingly, it was lobbied to be the state flower for about 15 years before that. So, our state flower. It's quite nice. I am a fan. So there's certain species that have very particular ranges that they're native to and that they can grow in. So this poppy you see here, Eschscholzia californica, is actually native to the entire coastline between Washington and Baja California. So it's found in like Washington, Oregon, the entirety of California down into Baja, as well as Arizona and New Mexico. Now, regarding the environment that this lovely flower is in, depending on where it's located, it can either be a perennial, so one that has multiple seasons, or it can survive for like multiple growing periods, or an annual, at which point after one growing cycle it dies. And it just depends on what kind of winter conditions there are. So in more mild winters, like we have here in Southern California, it's a perennial. In areas that get snow or higher levels of frost than we do, it tends to be an annual. So it just depends on that, and there's a few experiments where people are adding certain things to the soil to see if that would help a plant such as the poppy be a perennial in colder areas, but as of right now, that's how it grows. Now, as you might be able to deduce from here, the California poppy likes to spread out a lot. It's best if it's planted 12 to 16 inches between the particular plants, so it has enough room to do what it wants to do and grow, and all the plants in the area are allotted the right amount of space. It can survive in tighter confines, but all the plants in those groupings tend to get kind of bunched together and mushed, and it's just not so good. It prefers full sun, which is fabulous for right here. It can grow okay in more shaded areas, but the best growth you're gonna see is full sun conditions like this. And going along with the full sun and spacing, it does best when the roots can spread out and the soil can drain really well and dry out. So obviously the poppy needs water, but as a native to this environment, it doesn't need as much water as some other plants that might not be native to a desert sort of Mediterranean climate. As you can see from the growth, it does grow pretty thick, and it self-seeds, so once the fruits develop, they kind of fall where they are and just grow new plants. They can do that, but that produces very thick patches that might not be the best for the continued growth of the actual plant. So if you're maintaining a patch of poppies, just be aware that they tend to do that, and you might need to thin out the plants every once in a while and just like move the little shoots to other locations. So the poppies can grow 5 to 60 inches or 15 to 152 centimeters tall. These ones seem to be kind of in the mid-range. I have seen some that are relatively short, but these ones are about 3.5 feet tall. I have my notes on my phone. I'm going to read part of this just so that I don't get the terminology wrong, because it's easier to pronounce it when I'm reading it, just so you know. So the poppy has alternatively branching glaucous foliage, which means that the leaves are oriented on opposite sides of the stem and are a pale gray or kind of blue-gray in color, which they do have kind of a gray cast, and I don't know if you can see right now. If not, I'll splice in a clip. So each stalk has one flower, so each of these individual buds, so each stalk has one flower, so each of these individual flowers is on its own unique stalk. And the petals of each one are like 2 to 6 centimeters across. So 0.79 to 2.36 inches across. And each one consists, and each flower consists of 4 distinct petals and the central stamens. So the color can range from the bright orange that's kind of usually associated with the California poppies to yellow to like red, sometimes pink even. The fruit of the poppies is a dehiscent capsule, which means that it's a capsule or a container that has a weak point, if you will, along the side. So this here is the seed pod, and when the seeds are ready to go out into the world and become new plants, the side along here will split and the seeds will come out and just self-propagate wherever they land, basically, as long as the soil that they land in is hospitable and they can actually get some kind of root system formed. In particular for botany, a capsule is generally a dry sort of fruit, so when this is ready to burst, pretty much, it'll be dry and just let the seeds come out. They're fairly long at 3 to 9 centimeters or 1.2 to 3.5 inches long. So there's this one, there's this other one that's probably not in shot, that's it's a full decent size right there. And then there's a few shorter ones over here. These are the not quite developed version. So there's a whole range of there's a really high number of different variable species similar to poppies. So there's over 90 synonyms, and scientifically that means that they were at one point classified with the same designations and classifications as the California poppy, but they've since been researched and studied more and have greater similarities with other plant families. Now, ethnobotanically, the poppy can be used as food and garnish and medicine. And I've heard that you could probably eat the root if you wanted to. It kind of resembles a carrot, but it might not taste very nice. It is possible, but you might not like it. So take that into account if it should strike your fancy. The seeds are edible, so lemon poppy seed muffins is a thing. I quite like them. They're tasty. Poppy seed. As to the medicinal side of it, I'm going to read a quote from one of the sites that I found talking about them. It's from Herbazest. I'll give a link in the description for it. But it's... Researchers believe the main active ingredients in California poppy are acequinoline alkaloids, and these are behind the plant's medicinal properties. Experimental evidence further suggests that some of the secondary medicinal benefits of California poppy may lie in other alkaloid compounds, such as californidine and Eschscholzia, which are named for the plant. Those compounds are particular to this plant. So all the plant can be harvested. The flowers and leaves are used for slightly different things than the stems or the root. You just need to make sure that you take off any kind of desiccated, decaying leaf material, just because it's already decaying. It's not going to really help medicinally what you're trying to do. But the energy and the nutrients is already leaving that part of the plant. So when the leaves start turning yellow and kind of brownish, just cut them off, and those can go in the compost pile. The green seed pods, like these, are particular for some conditions. And interestingly, so people have sometimes found that it's easier to cut away the plant at the base where the kind of rosette is forming, and then after that's done, harvest the root. Which kind of makes sense because it's more directly accessible at that point. It's also a herbal nervine, so it directly impacts the nerve function and is used to treat anxiety and other kind of nervous conditions, depression, psychiatric conditions, sensitivity to weather changes, and among other things. There's going to be another link to a WebMD article that I found about the poppy and its properties and potential interactions in the description below if you want more information on that. It has chemicals that promote sleepiness and relaxation, which ties in with the relaxation and anxiety. So it helps to calm that side of it, so you can just relax and let go of tension. Just be aware that if you do take it, for those reasons especially, it slows the nervous system, which is why it helps you relax. It slows the nervous process down. So don't take it if you're going to have a surgery within 2 weeks. Like, if you're going to have a surgery and you know you're going to have surgery, stop taking poppy anything 2 weeks prior to that event. Or make sure that whoever's treating you knows that you have it in your system if you're going in for an emergency situation or something of that nature, just because it might have an interaction with the anesthesia. There's not been definitive research one way or the other as to whether or not it's good or okay for people who are pregnant or breastfeeding scientifically. So just, it's not recommended if you're breastfeeding or pregnant, though it does appear to be safe for the general populace if it's taken for 3 months or less. If you need to take it for longer than that, probably want to just hold off for at least a couple of weeks and then start back. Again, consult a medical professional. That is not me. I know the plants. I'm not an expert on the medicine. And the dosing depends entirely on the individual, whether it's like lifestyle, diet, weight, age, all sorts of components. If you're thinking about taking some, especially if you're not sure if it would interact with whatever medication you're already taking, I would highly suggest consulting your medical practitioner, provider person. Oh yeah, and fun fact to close this lovely video, as I've been sitting here with my lovely orangey friends over here. The poppy, like the California poppy, and the opium poppy, which I'll put a photo of over here, are cousins. However, because there is a far different chemical composition, the chance of developing any kind of chemical dependency or ingesting a toxic amount of the California poppy is rather low, as opposed to this guy over here, which is relatively high. There's been worse, but it's a thing. We'll get into that one at another time. But yeah, so that closes today's video. If you liked the content, hit the subscribe button down below and the bell icon next to it so you're notified when I upload a new video. There's a link to my blog where I write about plants in the description down below and on my main page. The last video that I uploaded is linked up here, and something that YouTube thinks you might like is down here. And my other channel where I do experiments and random other things and general funness is up here. Till next time, have a good day. See you later.